Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the City of Callaway Board of Commissioners. It is Tuesday, September 24th, 2024. It's 6 p.m. If you will please stand with me, Commissioner Pelletier will give the invocation. Commissioner Griggs, please lead us in the pledge.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing this commission to represent the citizens of this great city, and we pray for the agenda set before us. We ask that you help us make decisions that will benefit those who live and work and have the city of Callaway. We ask that you keep your arms around the people and pets on the path of the coming hurricane. Please look after all of our employees, our citizens, and first responders all over the state. In most blessed name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, please do a roll call.
Commissioner Davis?
Here.
Commissioner Griggs?
Here.
Commissioner Pelletier?
Here.
Commissioner Ayers?
Amen.
And Mayor Henderson.
Here. Okay, our first item tonight, we have a presentation of Bertha Bridge update. We have Scott Randall from RJ Gorman and Megan Whitmore from DRNP. If y'all would like to come up to the podium.
And I'll jump in here real quick. It was requested that they come to the last meeting, and unfortunately, it was such a short time frame that couldn't. They agreed to be here today. And I think Scott's going to give us just a really good update on where we are with the project, and of course, don't be asking any questions you don't.
Yeah, thank you for having us. So the update on the Bertha Bridge project, we are currently probably approaching the 87 to 88% complete mark right now. Had some challenges up front. One of those inherent risks you take when we take a job as a contractor that we've had to work through and work with the designers and the CEI and the city to overcome those challenges. Currently, we're waiting on some tie rods we got some movement in some walls that are happening right now. So we've had those rods on order for probably 4 to 5 weeks. We expected them any day this week, so hopefully the storm doesn't hold that up. But once the rods are in, we'll be able to finish the rest of the dirt work on the approach slabs. Once the approach slabs are completed, we'll go right into the traffic barrier wall. The approach slabs will get covered, the roadway will be done, we'll stripe it, and then plan on opening that up, and then we'll finish the sidewalks and the driveways that can be done outside the traveling public once it's open. So right now, the critical path is at 5.5 weeks once we get these rods in and open that up, and then we'll finish the sidewalks, the dressing it out, punch list and all that stuff, and finish cleaning our yard up and move out of there. And that's where we're at right now.
Okay, does anybody have any questions they would like to ask?
Did I hear 5.5 weeks?
Yeah, so from the time we get these rods in, so we've completed the wing walls on both sides of the approaches, and just, we don't know the answers. We've worked with the designers, worked with DRNP, we've asked the questions, come up with some solutions. The wing walls have got some movement that are coming out, so these tie rods actually will hold the wing walls back together, but those tie rods are right at the top of the aggregate base before we can actually do the concrete approach slabs. So we thought they'd be in Monday, we thought they'd be in, last part of last week. They didn't make it in, we've been bugging them today. It's not just a stock item, it's a specialty designed rod that can handle those forces and just keep that wall in there. So as soon as those get in, crews are ready to go. We got a little bit of base work. Our south side's right there. I think the north side's ready to go right now. So all we gotta do is put those rods in, bolt them up on the outside of the walls, form and pour the concrete approach slabs, and then everything else is turned over to our roadway sub to finish the asphalt paving and striping.
So that's 5.5 weeks after you get the rods in.
Correct, yep, and we bug them every day, so as soon as we actually have confirmation that they're on a truck and gonna be here, we'll let, everybody know, so they're in and our guys are ready to go back to work out there.
Why did the wing walls move?
Don't know, we've asked the designer, Megan might have better answers on it, but, unique situation. We had our thoughts, we all, brought it to the issue to the head and said, look, here's the things, here's what's happening, here's our suggestion, here's your suggestion. We threw it all at the wall. This is the option that stuck. The design designers told us that, hey, these rods will prevent those walls from any further settlement or, like rotational, like coming out. Right now, they're about 1.5 to 2 inches at the worst condition, so, we've completed the rest of the fill. We think this issue will, be resolved, and it's signed off and been reviewed, so we're gonna go with what the designer tells us to do.
You have any questions?
So obviously, middle of October is gonna be November now, correct?
Yes, yeah. Obviously not doing any work this week, but we don't, we'll watch it, make sure the storm doesn't cause any other damage or anything that would come up out of something like this, but as soon as they're there, like I said, we got guys cleaning up and crews cleaning up right now, and just doing what they can, so when those rods do get here, that we can finish up and get out of here.
What I can't understand is that it's been weeks and weeks since y'all have been out there to do major work. At what point did you find out we had an issue with those walls? And why would we inform you?
I can't tell you why you weren't informed of it, but I think we found out, as we started the backfill at the approaches, we saw these wind walls start to move up, so we tracked it, continued to the point where we were told to stop work. At that point, that had to go back to the designer of record, let him review it. We presented probably 3, maybe 4 options on it. Once they gave us an answer back on that, we ordered the rods, change order was issued for the additional materials for that stuff, and we've been waiting since, I think, the 1st of August for those rods to get here. And unfortunately, as the critical path of the sequence of work goes, those rods, you can't do anything on top of the rods until those are in, and that's what's preventing any of the approach slab and the concrete work from starting.
Who did the design work on it? Obviously, have they designed a bridge before? I know this is
I'm
your
not
first
gonna-
bridge. You've never built a bridge, correct?
No,
Okay.
I don't think you guys will let us hear if we never built a bridge. But, no, I'm not gonna speak poorly of the designer or whatever challenges they go through. Obviously, we do have inherited risk when we take on a job like this, and we're not designers.
But who is the designer?
Wolford is
Yeah.
the structural designer. Masterville Donovan is the roadway designer.
Wolford is a bridge designer.
They are.
That's
Wolford is a
exactly-
bridge designer.
So there's no guarantee really when the rods come in if that's gonna solve the problem, correct?
That's not my understanding. My understanding is that they reran the calculations and we can have movement up to 3 inches and we're still okay. They're saying that they don't believe that the walls will shift anymore. However, they want these rods put in just as a safe haven for future work in the area, just to make sure if there's ever any, movement or anything, that it's secure.
That's not a commitment, they don't believe. You mean there's a doubt, probably that the amount won't work, correct?
No, sir, they're doing this as like a second backup plan,
Yeah.
just in case there would ever be any more movement. They don't believe that there's gonna be any more movement at this point anyways, but they want these rods in just in case, in the future there would be movement. So according to the designer, they think that the movement has stopped because of the elevation that we've gotten to on the embankment.
I would hope that at some point, if we have any more delays, that city managers informed, so you can keep us informed, and so we can get the citizens informed. Obviously, that bridge is another one of our topics, along with a few others, that we have issues in this city. And, now we're talking November, and, I'm hoping we don't get into next year.
No, we understand, and it's our commitment to get this done. Obviously, we got our crews to go build our second bridge or get to the next one, but we want those guys out of there as well. We've been chomping at the bit to get this stuff here, so as soon as it is here, we'll be back to it.
Where are the rods coming from when it's taking so long?
I think I'd have to check, but I think they came out of Skyline Steel, which then had to be produced out of Ohio, and said it's not a shelled item, it's not a standard deal. So we did, when we have an issue or something comes up like this, it's an unforeseen design or a plan questions come up, we provide notice. We've tried to work with you guys and DRMP to not be a claim contractor and say, oh, hey, we're delayed, we look for other avenues and options, but ultimately, when it all comes back to it, the designer of record, they're the ones that have to sign off on it for us to be able to proceed.
We have an issue on the agenda this evening that I wanted to talk about. It's not on the agenda yet, but we're also having issues with railings. What kind of delay is that gonna cause?
waiting for an answer, really. I mean, the plans, they are what they are. They came up and they had about 60% of the actual required railing that's needed on the plans. There was a bust in the drawings and the design. We brought that up early, said, here's what it's gonna cost to overrun that railing to meet the limits of what's called for on the plans. So there's, you know, an option out between the Florida Sunshine Rail and the regular picket rail. Our manufacturer is a guy that's local here. We've done a ton of work with him in the past. He's said, you tell us which one to go and I'll start making it.
When you say you brought this up earlier, at what point did you bring that up?
We actually realized the rail issue before we even started work.
So it's just now coming to us. I don't understand. Almost a year and a half later.
So the issue was, yeah, so it came up as an RFI early in the process, and it was sent to the engineer of record to review the quantity for it, and they came back with an incorrect quantity. So just recently, whenever the handrail, subcontractor came out, they measured again and found that the quantity was wrong from the response, the second response to the RFI.
So that's the designer again?
Yes, sir.
But my understanding is the rail issue, that won't hold up opening the road.
No,
We're not be able to open the sidewalk.
because what we're trying to do is work with, we realize if you run with this rail, it's no different than the other rail. It's a different aesthetic feature. You can either, like a Chevy or a Ford, well, the price different, or Ferrari or Ford, whatever. So if the cheaper option is the way to help mitigate and keep some cost overruns from going, that we presented both options, it does not matter to us. Is what, you know, it's good for y'all and something that you guys are gonna be happy with when it's all said and done, that works.
Yeah, the traffic railing will be able to allow the road to become open, and then we'll just keep the sidewalk closed.
So you're CEI, correct?
Yes, sir.
So it's your responsibility to keep the city manager informed what's going on?
Yes.
Okay, so can we get a little bit more tight on the schedule and inform? I know we did the report, but the last report we received still shows mid-October. So I get the report last Friday, now today you tell me November. So I hate misinformation, you know?
Correct, yeah.
And then that information gets to the public, and then all of a sudden now, again, here we go, you know, another delay.
Correct, yeah, we'll make an updated schedule from RJ Gorman and make sure that everybody's.
But if you're gonna give us an update, let's make sure it's correct. Because the last update shows mid-October.
And we did, you know, I'll verify and get you guys some answers back, but like any sheet pile or a metal or a rolling for a rod like this, you get one option, you know, hey, they're gonna have a rolling and they're gonna be making this material on this date. If you miss that date, it's not like you say, hey, can you roll me a little extra? You wait till they roll that the next time. I don't know what exactly happened, but we'll find out the answers and get a more concrete date for when these things are gonna be delivered.
Appreciate that.
Anyone else have any questions for? Go ahead, Commissioner.
Got 27, so far got 27 rain days. This is per the 18th, September 18th report. 27 rain days. And then basically this dealt with the pilings. We had 48 more days that we approved. Are there any more days that we should be approving, before we get into, you know, other issues, but,
Right now, I don't think we have any weather days that are pending. Obviously, this week might change that some, but I don't think that there are any other days that are pending at this time. So the days that are shown on the last weekly update from last Friday are correct.
right, and that's what, Commissioner Pelletier was talking about. This report, you know, shows, October,
That was the latest report we had as of last week.
right, the 18th.
Correct. Yeah.
On that design, just so I'm clear, how does that work? Kind of just real quick, is the designer gives it to put out for bid, or does the state say, yeah, this is correct, put it out for bid? I mean, who authorizes that to go out for bid, and it's missing material?
I'm not
The
sure.
state's not involved in it at all.
No.
The state has nothing to do with this.
Typically, a designer will present to the board, the state, in that case, whoever, and they'll come up with a concept they like. So they'll design it, turn it out, it'll go out for review and comment, so they'll run through a whole QC/QA process and, you know, try to catch all these things that do get missed or overlooked, and make sure the design is, you know, gonna, A, meet the structural life that it's intended for, if it's a 50 or 75-year structure, that, you know, all the other clearances, everything, vertical curves, things like that, traffic railings are correct, foundation loads are done. Then once that's done, then that project will go out for bid. A CEI selected and a contractor selected, and then from there it goes, and, you know, if things like this come up, they said, we like to play that we're done contractors sometime, but, you know, we got a pile that runs, or if we got quantities that aren't there, there's something ambiguous in the plans, or, you know, some of that inherited risk shows up that, look, these walls are moving. Those guys a lot smarter than I can tell you that, hey, here's the calcs, here's why these walls shouldn't have moved, but they did move, so, hey, how are we gonna prevent any further movement, any, you know, structural damage to the walls? How do we make sure that this structure and this facility is gonna perform for the design life that it's intended for? And that takes.
Are they like cables with bolts on the end, or is it?
Basically, it's a cast, I think a 3/4 inch rod, but going from wing wall to wing wall, we have to core some holes through the walls, so there's gonna be a plate and washer on the outside, and we snug those up, so those walls are working against each other on it. And, yeah, we were shocked to see some of the movement on it that we did. We've done similar walls like this in the past, but I'll tell you, when we drove that first pile, 24-inch concrete pile, we broke a layer, and that pile ran 16 to 18 feet. It's, you know, not unusual for one to run, but it's something.
So right now, they're still in the milling process.
We expected they're gonna be delivered last week, and we expected they're gonna, you know, be delivered Monday, so same thing, hey, where's the rods at? So we'll bug them again and fly to see them if we need to, go pick them up ourselves, but once they're here, the grade's up, so those rods sit right below the concrete, the approach slabs, and the fill's up there. We can't put the concrete on until we get those bars in.
I have one more question. I know you said the state's not involved, but at what point is DOT gonna look at that bridge?
I'm not sure on that, that's not one.
Because they're responsible for all bridges in the whole state of Florida, correct?
They're in charge of inspections.
Pardon?
They're in charge of inspections.
Yeah.
They inspect every bridge, and
Right.
we got a report that was, even though that technically wasn't a bridge before, because it had a third square culvert, they actually considered it a bridge, and they're the ones that will come out. And they'll give you a rating on the bridge and tell you what it is, and then.
Right. I
Now, they do
remember
have,
that.
they do have the ability to come in and shut a road down and say you can't use this bridge anymore.
I'm just curious as to when are they gonna come before they're done?
They won't.
They won't know.
No, they do not, what's a good way to put it? They don't basically inspect it and say, yes, this is good, it's good to go. They'll just come and inspect it and say, yes or no. We're not yes or no, but, you know.
Is that 100%?
Is it at 100%?
You better say-
What's the
you better
health,
say yes.
what's the health rate?
And that won't necessarily be right when it's complete.
No, it'll be when they come through and do it, we'll let them know when the bridge is done, and then we'll go back in rotation. This is really the only bridge that we have in the city, which is our bridge.
I'm at a little bit of a loss. I guess our ancestors go back to when the people that built the ark. And, I guess, you know, some of that DNA comes in that when I built, my seawalls, when I did tiebacks. You know, regardless of how the pylons were set and everything else, I did tiebacks. And this almost sounds like, a tieback situation. And just wondered.
See that?
You know,
It's
what,
a pile founded wall, so it has 24-inch concrete pile driven under spread footings on this.
right,
But yeah, we didn't have the.
but now you have to do tiebacks to,
We still do tiebacks, correct? Yeah.
somebody missed some DNA there.
Anyone else? We good?
Good.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
We'll look forward to that update.
Yes.
Okay, our next item is, do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda? I know we have some additions that you'd like to.
Yes, we actually have 3 additions that we need to add, please. The first one is authorizing a state of emergency for the city. The county has went under a state of emergency wanna go ahead and follow suit. It is a 7-day, state of emergency. It just allows us to go ahead and call in and help if something just dramatically goes wrong. I also want to let everybody know that, I know I generally keep the alerts going out that we're getting from the state. We have not received anything. And me and Chief Joyner have been on the phone all day long today, fighting, trying to figure out what's going on, where these things are. And basically, we were pretty much told there's been no changes, so we're not changing that either. That is not gonna work for us. So, Chief and my meeting, myself, I'm glad Chief is on here, we were on a webinar at 5:30. Chief, you got the slides?
I text them to you.
Okay. I've got the slides. When we get out here tonight, I'll get these slides together and get this out here. Because it did shift just a little bit to the west, so they've got it under a hurricane, like tropical storm warning. Tropical storm warning now, so. And it has rainfall totals and wind speeds, and so I'll get all that out to you so we know what to expect. From a city standpoint, I think we're pretty much ready to go, right? You're good? I know Tim, you're good?
Yes.
Okay, so, fortunately, these guys know what they're doing. And we don't have to do it again, but we sure are prepared for it if we do. So that's the first thing is declaring a state of emergency. The next one is, we have an issue with the fencing project. Section of fence at Veterans Park should have been 8 foot. Instead, it was put in at 6 foot, and so we requested a change order to change it from 6 to 8. 8 is what's been in the past, so we want to add that. And then finally, just what we were talking a second ago about the pedestrian handrail for the bridge. So those are the 3.
Would somebody like to make a motion to add those items?
Motion to add those 3 items. Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and I would like to table item number 5 until we get more information. I don't know discuss solid waste. I don't know what we want to discuss. So I'd like a little bit more information so I can be better prepared to discuss solid waste.
Okay.
So if we could just do that for the next meeting, have like a summary of what you discussed,
That's fine.
and we'll do it at the next one. So we'll lose 1 but add 3. So I don't know if that's a good deal or not. Okay, so now that that's taken care of, just a quick review of public participation rules. You are allowed to speak on each agenda item. So if you want to speak on any agenda item, when I call for public participation, just indicate that you would like to speak. When you're, notice, come up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and then your 3 minutes will start to speak on that item. You can speak on every item if you so choose. Then at the end of the meeting, we have public participation for non-agenda items. So if there's something that wasn't on the agenda that you want to talk about, same procedure, come up, state your name and address, and then you have 3 minutes for your non-agenda item. And then now we will go on to approval of the minutes. We've got the minutes of the September 5th budget hearing and the September 10th regular meeting. Did anybody have any changes to those minutes? I think there was one minor correction that Ashley sent out to all of us, I believe.
Yes. Under the ordinance 1099, where it stated that Commissioner Griggs also addressed, saying that everything that the developer had mentioned is actually everything that he had mentioned, not the developer. So, got that amendment.
Did anybody have any other comments on any of the minutes? So, if not, we need a motion.
Motion to approve September 5th and 10th.
Okay, we've got a motion.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. The financial statements are there. So if anybody has any questions, I, looked them over briefly and it looks like we're doing great. We're about 92% through the year, but our expenses are only at 60%, so staff's doing a good job of keeping costs down. So we will move on to our first item, but we have to open a public hearing for this item. This is ordinance number 1103, flood management.
Ordinance number 1103, an ordinance of the City of Callaway, Florida, amending the city's code of ordinances and land development regulations related to flood management, updating the date of the flood insurance study and flood insurance rate maps, reformatting local amendments to the Florida Building Code, providing for applicability and severability, and providing for an effective date.
This is the second reading of the ordinance, we have no choice but to pass.
Does anybody have any comment or question? I know we talked about it kind of at last time, that Steve was requiring us to adopt these maps that they're coming in.
Yeah, and FEMA has a consultant that Rebecca Quinn, we worked with her for 10 or 15 years in every city, and every city's doing this, and she kind of goes through all of our LVRs and ordinances, and gets reorganized and updated.
And I imagine everybody's ordinance looks pretty much the same, every city. Did anybody in the audience want to comment on this item, on the flood management ordinance? Not seeing anybody?
Motion to approve ordinance 1103, flood management.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. So, all in favor, no, sorry. City clerk?
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Drew?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Commissioner Ayers?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mayor Henderson.
Yes. Okay, that will close the public hearing, and we will go on to item 2, resolution number 24-18, annual meetings and holidays for 2025.
Resolution 24-18, the resolution to adopt a meeting schedule for the regular meetings, workshops, and holidays of the City of Callaway Board of City Commissioners for the calendar year 2025, repealing all resolutions in conflict therewith and deciding an effective date.
City clerk, are you gonna do this one? You wanna go ahead and?
I think I've got them all listed, all right. I've reviewed it a couple of times as far as holidays and, second, fourth Tuesday. I did highlight in November, due to the second Tuesday in November is Veterans Day. And then the fourth Tuesday in November is the week of Thanksgiving. And I know typically one isn't done then, but one's on holiday, one's on holiday week, so I don't know.
One in December.
Well, either that, or we pass them, which is what we normally do, we pass them as scheduled. And then if we don't do them, vote, we're ahead of time, and we do need one, then we can throw one in, as opposed to, or you can make the decision now, to just get rid of the second ones.
Well,
We could
but
do
I
it
mean,
for
we
the
don't
11th.
wanna schedule a regular meeting for a holiday,
Correct.
so that would.
But we could look at moving it the
Yeah.
week after, we said, we want the planning commission, or make them, over the meeting.
Would you like to just combine the two
So
on
move
the
it
18th of November?
to the first or third week of November.
Yeah, that we can do the third, it'd probably be our best option, we just go planning board.
They'll tell them we can't, so planning board, they can't have anything on
November
the
18th.
second meeting in November.
November 18th.
And that typically, that's what we do, well, this is over a year away, so. Well, typically, we just have the first meeting in November, and we don't have the second one.
So that's next year, by the way.
Yeah, that's not this year, that's next year, so we're a year and 2 months away. So we wanna put November 18th as our proposed.
Well, if you have November 18th, then the next week you got 25th, so wouldn't it?
Yeah, but that's Thanksgiving week.
But yeah, that's already highlighted there.
See, that's Thanksgiving week, we usually don't have the second one in November. We usually just have the first one, and then we don't have the second one because it's so close to Thanksgiving.
So we're gonna have one.
1/18.
Yeah, so we just have one since the 11th is a holiday and the 25th is almost a holiday, it's 2 days before.
Okay.
Is everybody good with that for next year? We'll just have one meeting on the 18th for November.
Good on this side.
we're good with everything else, cause December, we can always come back later and decide we're not gonna have the second meeting.
Correct.
And if we run into something, we need to,
Oh, yeah,
we can always schedule a special meeting anyway.
I think it's just required that we pass this ordinance or this resolution that sets our meetings, and then we can change them however we need to. So, we are good with it? Okay, did anybody in the audience want to comment on the meeting and holiday schedule for 2025?
It's a year and 2 months away.
Yeah, it's a year and 2 months away. Okay, not seeing anybody, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the resolution 2418 annual meeting with no date in November.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. So, city clerk, please do a roll call.
Commissioner Green?
Yes.
Commissioner Pelletier?
Yes.
Commissioner Ayers?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
And Mayor Henderson.
Yes. Okay, we move on to item number 3. Tetra Tech Public Assistance Consulting Services from the 2018 Hurricane Michael Change Order 12. City Manager.
As y'all know, Tetra Tech is doing our PA services. We are still submitting and still getting reimbursements. So this, is a no-cost change order just to extend the period of performance.
Hopefully we're almost through.
Well, we always say that.
I know, well, we keep hoping.
Yeah, we're just gonna keep on hoping.
As long as you keep getting reimbursed.
Yeah.
What are the items that are not closed here?
Mr. Schultz?
Pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
They're doing final closeout right now, so it's,
So Go Park, none of it's closed.
nothing's closed. And even debris is not closed yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a different when we say we're finished versus when it's closed. Yeah, none of our projects are completely closed down.
Even though we're finished.
Even though we're
Or that
finished.
doesn't finish. Any other questions, comments?
And just as an FYI, Hurricane Katrina is still,
Yeah.
it's still going strong. They're still wide open on that hurricane. But we seriously hope to be done,
We hope.
yes, soon. We're doing really good. So I have no doubt that we're not gonna get close very soon.
Okay. Did anybody in the audience want to comment on the Tetra Tech change order?
Motion to approve Tetra Tech change order number 12, no cost change order.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. There's no further discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. And we will move on to item number 4, discussion of liquidated damages. Commissioner Pelletier?
Simple, we talked about this last time, at last meeting, and I just said that the $200 we have, this is again, really low, and I don't think this contract's been updated for some time. And I think city attorney says that most municipalities are using $500 now.
I mean, I would suggest, so basically, the city clerk will need direction, because, we'll sit up here and say, oh, well, we're gonna put it out in bid. Well, as part of that bid, you've got our form contract, which we're gonna change, and then they get the contract, and that number's in there. So I think she would need some direction. I would suggest like a default of 500. But also, it needs to be project dependent too. You might, not that we have anything coming up, I was just looking at one we were doing in Springfield. They're about to redo their entire city hall, police, fire, public works, massive, $10 million project or plus. They're gonna put in 1,500. But it's gotta have a relationship to the type of the project. Like if we're delayed because I can't get my police and fire and don't have city hall, well, then obviously that number needs to be higher. Certainly I agree, $200, that's been in there for, I've been coming here since 2011, it's probably been since 2011.
Sure, Commissioner Pelletier, when we very first saw this and caught wind of what was going on, which was from this, me and Kevin actually had a conference call and we discussed the pros and the cons and things. Internally, we'd already raised it to 500. We couldn't figure where it had to be a commission issue. So we immediately had put it at the $500 after talking to
what I'm saying? So, I mean, yeah, I would think do 500, and if you have some sort of big project, we just need to.
Like the bridge.
Yeah, just, I mean, I'll just look at the dollar threshold, and you can even decide that, depends how much it is. I mean, you're doing a, you know, $60,000 pension project, $200 probably fine, $500 fine, but $8 million project, you might need to bump it up a little bit. And you can always do that every time you send the bids out, you just have to let the city clerk know before they go out and get published. So just pay attention to it as we approve the bids going out, if you wanna bump that 500, I think certainly keep a floor of 500.
So what is this gonna do to Cherry Street, since we've got a new contract coming?
That's another contract.
Fortunately, it's still under the old contract,
Okay.
fortunately.
So you do a raise of 500.
Yeah, I would say just let the clerk know, base of 500 and all bid packages going out, and then if you've got a, you know, bigger project.
So what you're saying is we as a commission, when we have bigger projects, we should interject
Yeah.
at that point, what we're thinking, more than $500.
Or, you know, or the city manager, or, I mean, you guys would know better what the size of the project is, you can come in there.
The truth of the matter is.
You need to put it in that bid package before it gets out.
We've never had it as something that we look at. I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. Nobody really ever looks at it, we just look at the standard contract list. In fact, when I told Kevin, I said, Kevin, this is set by statute. Because we've never looked at it before. So now.
The only thing about statute is retainage, so we have to adjust that.
Right, and we do retain. So, we went ahead and internally, like I said, moved it up to 500, and unless y'all want different, we're just gonna leave it at that, and then we've got it as part of our procedures now to look at the liquidated damages amount on each contract.
Yeah, because we had some, in Lynn Haven, that went up to 1,000, there was some major pushback on that. So it just, you know, depends, you know, obviously the contractor's gonna want it as low as possible, but, you also have to justify, it's true, like liquidated damages is really saying, it's hard to reasonably tell what our damages, we really can't quantify it, so we're just gonna agree up front on a number. We both agree to it, and that's what our damages are, because we can't really quantify it. But I think there's no doubt that 200 is too low for anything.
We're reasonable and the contractor is normally reasonable. And I've used the bridge as an example. I mean, when our test piling went to China, we realized that we had to increase that. We gave them additional 45 days, that plus some other things. So
I've seen
within
500, 1,000, and then just recently saw 1,500, but it's like I said, 21 million project.
Okay, so you good on that?
Yep.
Okay, so we go on to add-on. Item number 6.
Oh, Mayor. We didn't ask for.
Oh, I'm sorry, well, would anybody like to comment on that, on the liquidated damages?
Lisa Langston, 6031 Main Street. I just wanna say that I think we should raise it, I don't know if 500 is quite the going rate or whatever, because it just seems like, you know, people find excusable delays or whatever to delay on a job. I mean, they can say, oh, we have a supply delay, or we have this, or we have rain days and stuff like that. Well, if a company is willfully not working on sunny days, then how do we give them rain days? That's what I'd like to know.
Not with the working when.
On sunny days, when the weather is nice, when they're not working when it's sunny days, how can we give them rain days? I mean, you can't justify giving them rain days if they're not gonna show up when it's not raining. So, that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anybody?
Don Haynes, 431 Plain Pass. It's a good idea to let y'all know that $500 or something, that's fine. But these contractors know that if they got a 30-day notice or a 30-day project, they know, how long it's gonna take to get in, they're gonna built that $500 into the contract. They're not gonna lose any money. You know, they're gonna put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna put it in, so I think $200 low, but $500 fine, I think you should do it by contract, because if they got one that can't get the stuff in, they're gonna up the price. That's all there's to it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, not seeing anybody, now we'll go on to our first add-on, resolution 2419, declaring state of emergency.
Resolution number 2419, a resolution, the proclamation of the city of Callaway, Florida, proclaiming the existence of a state of emergency regarding tropical storms and
City manager?
Just as a slight precautionary measure, since everyone is kind of, the county has went to a state of emergency, the state's under state of emergency, and I know that some of the other cities are also going ahead and declaring it. It says a 7-day state of emergency just to get us through this. Just basically it allows us to, you know, do what we need to do if something does go seriously wrong in the ships.
Got any comment or question?
You should be very used to this.
Yes. Yeah. Always heard when we had the COVID state of emergency, we've actually been a while without a COVID. Anybody?
So it expires on October 1st.
Well, if something happens and we need to, then we'll do another one.
one permanent earlier.
Because after Hurricane Michael, we were
Something happens, we
constantly.
have to meet quick.
Mhm.
And I'll just let you know real quick, I do have a conference call with our monitors and our rehaulers tomorrow morning, just so we can know exactly what's going on. I've talked to, our insurance people, and they will have some money on site, for the storm, that'll be readily immediately available to us. As you know, we're part of the Synergy Turnkey program with that, so. They're the ones that came in and hardened our structures immediately, and kept us from having even more damage, and did a rebuild of everything, so. We've been in contact with everybody. That's like I've been telling my staff, you can play like you practice, so we're practicing with that play.
Well, within the last year, we renewed our contract for debris and monitoring.
That is correct.
So we did in much better shape than the last storm.
That is correct, yes. This is a very good reminder.
So, anybody have any other comment, question? Did anybody in the audience want to comment on our resolution declaring a state of emergency? Y'all are probably used to it too, from the actual Hurricane Michael. Okay, so we need a motion, gentlemen?
Motion to approve resolution number 2419, declaring state of emergency regarding tropical storm Elliott.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, city clerk.
Commissioner Pelletier?
Yes.
Commissioner Ayers?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
And Mayor Henderson.
Yes. Okay, we'll go on to item number 7, Veterans Park change order, fence height. City manager.
Sorry to spring this one on y'all. Me and Tim was, meeting with the fence people, and if y'all haven't noticed, we've got almost a completed fence out here on the way into 500. As you come down, we've got the fence going in over there. We were discussing about the next final fence that's gonna go in, which is gonna be over at Veterans Park. And they said, yeah, we're gonna be able to get the 6-foot fence in, and we said, no, it's an 8-foot fence. We went back and reviewed the bid. It had 6 foot in. This one, we inadvertently left out the height requirement on their part. So it was an assumption that it was another 6-foot fence. Actually, it needs to be 8 foot. I did find out that years ago, we had a 6-foot wooden fence there that was very inadequate because the slope and everything behind it. When it was replaced with the vinyl fence, it was made 8 fence, which gave us a more opaque picture so that we couldn't see back there. I was actually there with the gentleman as he called the supplier. The cost is actually a lot, there is more cost, is what I heard him say on the phone, it was on a conference call. But he came back and he basically said, look, we need to do this, we're gonna keep it down, so he offered us $5,500 materials only, it's actually below materials cost. Overall, it kept us within our budget. But, here's the but, when we accepted the contract, we shifted next year's budget to match the numbers that he bid. So, in next year's budget, we're actually gonna be off this amount, but this is a CRA project, so we'll just adjust the CRA budget next year.
We've been talking about 8-foot fence down there for a long time.
Yes.
You and I talked about it a
Yes,
year
sir.
ago.
That's what happens, you just leave one number out. And it made it through multiple checks, and we're all just kinda going, how do we want this done?
It was good, I know you had told me that the contractor actually was probably gonna take a little bit of a
He's
loss.
taking a loss. I literally sit there and listen to him on the phone, on speakerphone, and he was talking to the guy, and he was telling me, no, you gotta do better, because we're ordering so much fence, and he came back with one price, and then he turned over to me, and he goes, that's too much, let's do it for this, I'll take it, but he wants the project. I said, you got it, I'll present it.
Well, I would,
No,
I appreciate it, but very honestly, about the same amount of labor to put in an 8-foot fence as a 6-foot, so.
And that's why this is
We're
cost of
paying
materials.
for the cost of the materials, and he's absorbing the labor, but he has the same labor basically as doing a 6-foot.
Mhm.
But still, we appreciate what he's doing.
Because he's absorbing some of the cost.
Is it going on there?
Two sides, or is it gonna come down, is it gonna close off the water side too?
Yeah, where exactly does the 8-foot
Fence.
fence go in the park?
Go into the park on the right-hand side, it runs the whole entire distance all the way to the back.
But it's just on one side.
It's just on, yeah.
It's on the side like behind the wall of honor.
Yes, all of that back there. There's some wood fences back there, but we're going to run.
Yeah, because those are individual
Mm-hmm.
houses with, okay,
Yeah, it's gonna look just like it did before.
but I was the one with the like.
And if you've been out there lately and you look at the railings, along the retaining wall that we put in, that's the sunburst railing we're gonna talk about in the next hour.
Anybody have any thoughts on this, no comment? Would anybody in the audience like to comment on the 8-foot fence, the height change of the fence? Seeing anybody, would someone like to make a motion?
Motion to approve Veterans Park change order fence height.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. This is not an ordinance or a resolution, so all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. We will go on to agenda item number 8, change order pedestrian handrail for Northern Bridge.
Okay, we've already talked about this. There was, basically just revving me up. I got it. I like, Scott, thank you for saying all you can kind of help. I kind of understood a little bit different. I thought the RFI went in, they came back with a number, and that number was supposed to be added on to the bridge, but it actually wasn't. And that's where it came out. Then when they came back and saw it and they did the measurements, they're like, hey, you're still off the bridge length. And that's where it all came in. I don't know if that's close or what. Either way,
Correct.
the minute we found out about it, we, of course, it got sent to me. I think there's been some references in the reports that have been going out about it, that there was maybe something not right. Either way, basically, the railing vest is gonna have a little bit of a longer lead time, but it's not gonna affect the opening of the bridge as we talked about. We'll just keep that pedestrian sidewalk closed until we get this installed. It's not gonna slow down until it's done, it's gonna slow down opening the pedestrian side of it. We have two options. We have the Sunshine Sunburst, which is, almost 21,000, and then we have the Picket, which is the 12,129. I just just asked for what's the cheapest we could put, you know, to keep our costs down. So as you see on the thing that I gave you, it has the costs of each one of them. And the picket railing, of course, is just like a picket fence. And then the starburst, like I said, that's what we've been using around the city. That's what we put out in Veterans Park.
Do we already have, since the Starburst was in the original contract, has that been ordered for the area?
No, it's not started.
No, we have the option to go either one.
So, now, I know this is the price, these two options, that's the total price. But how much is in the project for the rail? I mean, it's not like, I mean, there was something in there.
I believe the current is about 40,000, is that right?
That's what I remember,
Yeah,
So
40,657.
So this 20 is just for the addition?
It's just the
The
addition.
additional, okay.
It's only for the addition.
That's what I wanted to be clear.
So if we went to the picket fence, would it reduce the other cost also?
No, the 12,000 is reducing the other cost. That's the
No,
price.
I mean the 40,000, would it come down also?
Yeah, if we went from Sunrail to Pickett,
If we go from Sunrail to Pickett,
You see
they're
that,
already gonna deduct off what it was, and then they add it on. That's where you see,
so,
that's where you see a deduction of 40,000, and then the original railing, which is 400. See, you have deducted 227 at the 179, but you got the 344. So it's 52,700 was, is basically, I think that's what's.
yeah, the contract unit price for the Sunshine Rail is $179.11, to which the plans included the quantity on the actual bridge itself. The extensions that went on the roadway portion of the plans was forgotten in the quantities. So to swap that out and go with the picket rail, the linear foot.
Scott, if you don't mind. could you
Oh,
come-
sorry.
Come up here, please. Just
Sorry.
clarify.
Apologize. So yeah, the original Sunshine Rail was unit price $179 and change, $179.11 per foot. To go to the picket rail, that unit price $153.45 a foot, so we added 117 linear feet, which was the bus, which was the section that was forgotten or not included in the plans. That would be the addition. So since nothing's been fabricated on the Sunshine Rail yet, if you guys wanted the other rail, we just need to direct our manufacturer and our supplier to start fabricating.
So basically.
It's accounted for, it's accounted for, it's just, either way.
Everything's accounted for, it's just a matter of picking the style of rail. And this is gonna be the rail that's gonna be there, that everybody sees for forever, so. it's not-
I think the most attractive, and there's a sample of this down there, at Bertha, next to the end, down by the townhouses. I thought, wow, that's really nice looking, the picket. And I did drive by, Veterans Park and look at the sunrise, it's pretty decorative.
Yeah.
So I don't know how decorative we want the bridge to be, but, I think the picket would probably suffice. Just the first one.
Well, what we're really looking at, the difference between the picket and the sunburst is, around $8,000 and $9,000. And when I'm looking at that, saying, we're going to be developing a park on both sides of the entries to the bridge. We'll be having parks that'll be part of there. And I look at, what we see at Veterans Park, and that is very impressive and very professional and I'd say very good looking for the city. And for the $8,000 difference or the $9,000 difference, and knowing that we're gonna be having exposure of what we see on that bridge from not only the waters, but also from the parks that were being developed there. I kinda like, very much like, what we did on Veterans Park. And that gave us I don't wanna talk about class or non-class, but that just made us a little bit classier in Veterans Park than just, straight railing.
So where does the money come from for this? I heard, I think we talked earlier, and it's
The infrastructure. You can have city infrastructure.
That made it personal.
Whatever you wanna pay for.
Yeah, I'm sure, I mean, Mr. Schultz, I have it, but David, I sent,
It's not CRA money, it's.
no, we haven't been using any CRA money on the bridge.
That's not in the CRA.
That's not a CRA.
It's right at the end, it's not in the CRA.
Half the bridges in CRA.
Where's it coming from?
Yeah, so I wonder, can we use one side of it, can we figure out, can one
One
side of
side
it
be
be
it.
CRA and the other be infrastructure?
We're not gonna play that game.
Okay.
That bridge is not in the
Not
CRA.
in CRA.
And we should have the designer pay for it since they didn't design it right. I like, the problem with the spigot fence, I don't know what the laws are, but I'm very familiar since, at a condominium, we had specific width.
See, that's what
It- it
concerns
will-
me.
I will tell you
I'm
right now,
concerned that the child's gonna go through, I don't know
Yes.
what the
Or
picket,
you-
what the
Put their head.
width
Or
of
get
that
their
picket
head
is.
stuck or something, that concerns me as well.
So, I don't know, obviously, we must have a statute on bridges, as to when we put a picket fence in, that a child can't go through it and fall in the water. I don't know, there's no dimension here, I can't figure out what the distance is in between pickets.
5-inch max.
5 inch,
Yep.
But that's,
that's pretty, that's fine,
2 to 5.
yeah.
And that's the same with the other two.
Yeah, but the other two, it's gonna be hard for a child to go to the starburst.
But
It's 5 inch,
it's 5 inches.
You're talking about the
here also.
distance?
Yeah.
Max.
on a home, it's 3.5 inches.
Right.
DOT, the clearance is 2-inch 7/8 minimum to 2 5/3 max. And that's the last spacing right before the end of the bridge to get the spacing equal in between.
I'm just surprised that our home is stricter than the bridge.
Yeah.
There's more liability on the bridge than is in our home.
Condos same.
Condos are
Real
the same.
strict.
Right.
But the sunburst pattern actually gives us a little bit, more of a complete, siding to it.
Yeah.
So if we can go 5 inches on the rails, I mean, on the post, I wouldn't wanna go 5 inches on the post. Your child can go through that,
Right.
a dog can go through that.
Yeah,
Well, the other is 5 inches also at the top.
I see it here now.
It's on the drawing.
Yeah.
I'm with Commissioner Griggs, you know, that road's gonna be well traveled once that bridge opens. And the parks are gonna be there, and the water's gonna be used, so I like the sunrail. I think as much as we put into that bridge, you know, another $8,000 or $9,000 is not that much to have it look really nice. And since it's not gonna take any more time, it won't keep the road from being open. But that's just my opinion. Anybody have anything to say? I see what the audience wants to say. Would anybody in the audience like to comment on the rail? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Jody Moore. I live at Amherst Street in Lynn Haven. Hi, Kevin. I'm also with the Beacon of Bay County, Florida page. I was invited here by my friend Teresa back there. I have a question about the bridge. Is it item number 8 that slide didn't change? Are we talking about item 8?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Who was the engineer on that project?
We just talked about that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Master O'Donovan was the main engineer, and they subbed it out to the bridge portion to a company called Warburg.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Langston, 6031 Main Street. I'm just going on what he said when he was up here about it was forgotten on the plans and stuff. So normally, it's my understanding that if a contractor or designer or whoever forgets something and then they have to add it on later, they wouldn't come back to the person that's paying the bill, would they? If it's their mistake? I mean, cause if that's it, then they could just bid whatever they wanted to and, oh, we forgot, and come back and keep getting more money and more money and more money. So I think that they should be responsible, if not for all of it, for part of it. I don't think we as city or citizens should have to eat the cost of all of it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
What's the, city attorney, what's the legal opinion?
I mean, obviously, the contractor's gonna bid on what was designed, so it's not, it doesn't fall on the contractor. I mean,
So whoever the design approved,
the
the
engineering
design
plans came here, and we approved them and went out, so it's a matter of, you know, did the city do enough quality control to see what needed to be there, and if there was some sort of design feedback, that's a little different, but
Go ahead.
it certainly wouldn't be the contractor.
Yeah, Pelletier 7724 Shadowville Drive. Am I understanding that he said that they've done bridges before, is that correct?
Yes.
Because on June, there was a social media post that said it's always been a dream of Justin Gorman to build a bridge, and that it was coming to fruition with Bertha Bridge. So that doesn't really sound like there's been bridges done before, so I'd like to know what bridges were done.
What does that have to do with?
Yeah, that really doesn't have anything to do with this particular item. Did you want
I'm
to?
happy to respond to it.
Okay, go ahead if you want to respond.
Thank you for the question. So yeah, Gorman, long-established marine contractor, seawalls, boat docks, lifts, things like that, house foundations, did a ton for Mexico Beach after Hurricane Michael. The owners, Justin and Gary, wanted to expand on what they did with the marine division, so brought myself in and some other superintendents, some talented laborers, foremen, people like that. So Gorman as a company, yes, it was their first bridge. But we bring the rest of us in, we've got a combined 60 years of bridges that range from $500 million to something like the Bertha Bridge. So, you know, social media, what it is, it's not exactly right. But yeah, as companies grow and we got into the contracting in the road and bridge side, we were brought in from my experience. And I'm not up here to brag, but I got 25 years in doing this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And did anybody else want to comment? Okay, not seeing anybody. Would somebody like to make a motion? As to what we should do?
I'd like to make a motion that we go with the sunshine infill panel design.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion before we vote? Okay, all in favor of going with the sunshine, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Get that wall ordered so it doesn't take as long as the wall.
Scott, I have a sign change order to make it.
And we'll provide directive for them to go with the fabrication of that too, to get going.
Okay, so that completes our agenda and brings us up to commission and staff comments. I just have a few tonight. I did on September 18th, I presented our Constitution Week proclamation at the Daughters of the American Revolution meeting. And on September 19th, I did an interview with Jerry Tabbitt. He has a program out at Gulf Coast each week. He interviews somebody to do with the military. He has a radio show called Our Military Community. So he did an interview with me. We talked about Callaway in relationship to Tyndall, and we also talked about the wall that heals that's going to be coming in November. I can send it's on YouTube. I can send you a link if you would like. You can do whatever with it. And then on the 21st, which this isn't a city thing, but it is a city thing, we had our Callaway Historical Society yard sale, where we raised just over $650 for Callaway Elementary. I do want to thank, which I know a lot of the people aren't here tonight, I want to thank Bonnie and Bill, Lisa Kepke, Dave Carrington, Richard Giacampo, and I don't know if there were other city employees that donated things, because sometimes things would just show up, donations. But I appreciate all the things that y'all donated, and I want to really thank Commissioner Griggs, Commissioner Ayers, and my sister, who's not here tonight, for all their hard work. We were all there by 6 o'clock Saturday morning and stayed till about 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon, getting everything cleared up. So, but I feel like it was a big success that a little organization like that can raise $650. I was happy with that. And then the one other thing I wanted to bring up, and I know I brought this up a couple of times, this is about the collections, you know, the past due water bills going to collections. And I've asked about the, you know, if it's the owner that's living there, because there's a homestead exemption. And I still don't know, do we have to pass an ordinance to do something, you know, can
Kevin,
we?
did Jennifer tell you about that?
If we, you know, we have these that go to collections, but if it's the owner, I know a lot of times it's renters, if it is actually the owner that doesn't pay the bill, can't we go after them like with a lien for some kind of abatement, since the city is actually out that amount of money?
Yeah, if it's the owner, we can, and we've done one or two,
But I know.
an actual utility bill lien.
But I know every month I look through this list, and there's always one or two that have a homestead exemption, so I have to assume if they're getting a homestead exemption, they should be
Yeah, they
living
need to
in
be
the
living
house.
there, yeah.
If they're not, then there's a bigger issue. I think they shouldn't be getting that exemption if they're renting out the house.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
obviously,
That is the question that has come up, that some of these that are showing up are showing homestead, you know.
Yeah, so if they show a homestead, that should be the owner. So why can't we do sort of a nuisance abatement type?
You could do a utility lien, we did that
Yeah.
one that was pretty big, it's $2,000,
Yeah.
a utility lien on there. You know,
But
it's a lien, it covers the property.
I guess the
So
question
you
is,
can't, now,
we need to-
you gotta look at well, obviously, that's the account holder,
Yeah.
and if it's homestead, I mean, you can't put it on the next, a renter or the next person who
No.
buys it or whatever, but if it's the owner, that is the account holder.
it's hard to fathom that. If they're selling it or what, that they would go to collections on their own house. See what I'm saying? If they're living there, then you gotta think.
Cause it's cut off.
Cause it's cut off,
Yeah, that's what they asked, things cut off.
yeah, so how are they living?
I mean,
They
they're
might
wondering,
be ready
it's
to
cut
rent
water
it.
But
off.
it's still their property.
Oh, I agree, we can go back after them, you know, and then
They could be
That's the
old,
next
it could be
person.
vacant, you know, it's still homestead, but vacant, that happens, the person dies.
Why would they have a water bill if it's vacant?
Yeah, well, this is gonna come up after it's been cut off, and we've taken our deposit, and what's left over goes to collections.
And then my question is, do we need to put a minimum on how much we're gonna
Collections, you know,
go to?
And that's when it's been long cut off, we've taken the deposit, whatever's left over, we send to collections.
I mean, these, what went to collections, one of them was $391.61, the other one was $30.52.
And they wouldn't be able to turn it back on until they pay that.
Exactly.
So those are just old, they're probably vacant, so we can, if it's still owned by them, we can put a lien on them. Then people, if they ever sell it, they'll do a municipal lien search, it'll pop up if there's code enforcement, if there's utility bills, it all pops up.
I'm just looking for any way that we can recoup some of this money.
Yeah,
That's
we've done,
money
you can
that
do
the
it,
city, we're out that money, it's,
you can put a lien on it.
We can do a quick, what we call a CBA, cost benefit analysis on it, and see how much,
okay.
what it'll cost us in time and
Yeah.
effort versus what we're gonna be able to get out of it.
I mean, it's one, you're not gonna foreclose that lien, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna spend the money to foreclose it, so it's one of, so even when people come to us with municipal lien searches, one of the things that we search for is utility bills, even if it's not a recorded lien in the public records, you're still gonna put out the municipal lien search. Yeah, there's a $306 past due utility bill.
But that's
And there's
only
a-
if somebody comes looking for a lien, so.
Unless you go to foreclose, that's the only way you're gonna get paid on it, or unless they come to try to turn the water back on, then they're gonna have to pay it anyway.
So even though that's money that we're out, we can't make it into a tax lien like we do in nuisance
No,
abatement?
because that has to be an actual improvement to the property, not just a debt.
Okay,
Like, those are because the city went and spent city dollars and made an improvement.
okay. Okay. That was all. I was just curious, because like I said, I'm trying to figure out ways that we can recoup any money that we can, but I can understand. If it's the $30 and it costs us $50 to go after it.
Like I said, that will
Yeah,
be reported on a lien surge. If it's
Okay.
not a reported lien, you'll still say
Okay.
there's past due bill.
okay. Okay, that's everything I have. So Commissioner Davis, this budget is.
You. One thing I wanted to find out, we have any update, or have we reached out about expanding that wall up there, or?
We thought about explaining the wall? Well, yeah, we thought about it. We're taking collections on it right
Yeah,
now.
I know we're talking about bricks, but if we get the bricks, we need to have a plan about adding to that wall.
We've got two different plans that we're working on. That we can do. We can always knock the top off and bore up. That's one way. Or,
I think that'd be the right way.
or the way, or another way would be we can create a wall on the back by adding another wing off to the sides of
I
it.
think if you
And then
just
we
went
can go
up,
straight
it'd be
across.
fine, cause you're gonna have an 8-foot fence on the hill, so it, you can go up probably twice as high as what
Well,
we
we'd
have.
have to look at how structurally sound it would be for us to add on to it, especially if we don't want tall walls. Again, hurricane weather.
If you go up too high.
One thing I'd like to
you're not gonna
see-
be able to see.
About, for the next meeting, adding that solid waste, I'd like to see the contract for that hauler and what we paid him for the year.
I already know that, seems like.
Okay.
That way we have something to base over.
Yes, sir.
The one, I want to appreciate Representative from Gorman coming in and talking to us. And I guess in the future for us, listen to him talk. A lot of stuff was missed by the designer out the gate. I think the designer only did the bridge, from what it sounds like. Come off either side thinking about it. Just listen, observation. Also, what's going on with those apartments up there? At Tiller Parkway and next to the Sepco and the funeral home? You can- I noticed they're totally gone, so I don't know if they were actually came in here and thought they were gonna work and get away with it. And they've been,
No, they came in, they coordinated with code enforcement, that they were just removing things out of it. I believe also Bill, can you confirm they took out some drywall too, did they not? And that was all part of the engineer having to go back in to check it to make sure it's structurally sound. All of this has been going through, there's been coordination between the attorney, between code enforcement, EPCI, who is watching very intently to make sure that they're gonna follow all guidelines that that building is structurally sound. So right now, I believe it's back now in their,
The resubmitted permits have to do with fire protection or something like that. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if they can issue it.
yeah, they have, I don't know, did they submit them already?
That was.
I don't know, and Bonnie's not available, or she would know. So they were supposed to submit the plans for fire suppression. And that was where we are at the last
gotcha.
step.
And the last thing, the shopping center, where are we with that?
So, we have had just question after question after question. And we answered a question, I think it was on Thursday, last Thursday. And somebody came right back in, I think it was it yesterday, submitted more questions. And we talked it over with both our consultant and the state, and they wanted to extend it again, to make sure all these questions are answered, because they wanna make sure that it's done right. So the bid has been extended another 2 weeks? Today.
I thought we had a cutoff date.
Right, I thought you told us last meeting it was gonna, one more week and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, we need to
Now we're
at some
extended for
point
2 more
draw the
weeks.
line and
Yeah.
say, that's it.
Overtime.
I think that the way that this was summed up is that we gave the answers, and then they had to have time to submit their questions, and they submitted questions, and it made it so that even if even if the questions got answered the same day, it wouldn't be that everybody would have enough time to acknowledge the addendum that would go out.
But why were they allowed to submit more questions?
Because I believe it was because they answered at the last minute, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, everything was in on time, but he just made it so late that
What's the answer, so the answer generated more questions?
answer generated more questions.
So how long is this gonna go on?
Really?
This has been going on for 2 months now.
At least.
Just 2 months?
No, I'm talking about, I'm talking about,
The bids could come in.
yeah, the bids. 2 months ago, we were told, it's going out, we're gonna go ahead and go. We're not even close now, and we have been 2 years ago.
Is it multiple companies asking questions, or is it basically one company?
No, it's multiple.
But are we not able to just say, enough is enough?
Really?
I've asked that question, and
The problem is being a state grant.
Yeah.
That was a state grant.
That's the problem. Yeah, grants typically, yes, that's one of our projects, yeah, you can say, look, no, we're cutting it off. No.
Yeah.
But we're
And
turning around saying, we're not gonna spend any city dollars, we want this grant money, and if the grant, the administrator of the state says, you want the grant, give it to them in 4 weeks.
And the state doesn't care how long this takes for us.
Yeah, I mean, they want you to follow your procurement policies, so, but they, like if it's ours, totally, then we can certainly.
It's really getting to be ridiculous, really, to be honest with you.
You've been to Tallahassee.
Yeah, I know. This can go on. So now we have another 2 weeks, so 2 weeks from now they have another question, we got extended again? Is that what you're saying?
We're trying to get with the state to see if we can.
Have we answered the additional question?
No, it just came in yesterday. So we're working.
We could've answered it today.
We're working. It's not a question, it's not us answering
I
questions.
know, but
We're just the middleman. It comes through and then we push it out.
the CPI,
We
they
push
answered
it out.
the question?
No,
Whatever.
no, it goes back to the original architect and engineers.
Well, we need to light a fire under them somehow.
I will only sit here and say, Ashley, that I like the best fire I could like. Okay. I thought I had lit a fire that would take care of it.
Hopefully they won't answer like tomorrow.
I don't represent them. I can only tell you that.
Nothing can get finished.
Sounds to me that.
We're hung in.
Yeah,
We're,
because of the
we're
state.
basically sitting here, we're hung in limbo. So,
What is the video?
Hometown revitalization, right?
yeah.
I think
That's
we
where
had,
commerce, yeah.
we had to do this all over again, I would have never gone this route, because the problem is that the state is holding us, and this can go on and on and on. The people of this city don't care about the state, they wanna see it down, okay? And we keep on extending, you tell us one thing, and next meeting, another thing, on and on and on and on. We've been better off saying, okay, tear it down, or else we're gonna tear it down for you, here's your bill.
It doesn't have to be torn down, does it? The shopping center itself doesn't need torn down, cause it's not 50%.
Yeah.
It's not a hazardous structure, it could just sit like it is
Yeah.
forever.
But it's not.
Except for that one building,
Yeah, that one building, we probably will.
that would have to go.
But we would have to bring in an engineer on how to tear down half a roof, take it apart, get a roof down, tear off half of the building. So it's just, I mean,
Could you not find out from the state as to what point we can just stop all of this?
that is the question that was posed today.
in writing or by phone?
I gave it to Felicity, our grants administrator, she works with them. Let me think of when we have our next conference, let me look and see if I can find out when it's called.
If it's gonna be that way, I don't know why we even get into some of these grants. This is not a benefit to us, the city personally, it has to do with that contractor, or the building, the owner of that property. And we're biting the bullet on it, we're being blamed for all of it.
We're going in, you don't know if this is gonna happen. You didn't know we were gonna have all these. We've done other things with state grants, and you don't have problems.
I'm not gonna take a position every way, I understand how frustrating it is. I would rather go this route and know that I've got an end result than let it sit knowing that it's gonna sit and look like that for the next 10 years. Or until it becomes a hazardous structure that we can tear it down, because we cannot tear it down in the shape it is right now.
Maybe the state will come through.
And it is fenced off, so.
Yeah.
We're gonna, don't think that, staff and us do not want this project to get done. It's an absolute frustration between all of us.
Once you get a decision on any opinion as to, can we stop it at this point, can you info us on that, please?
Y'all want me to get, to see if we can pull the plug on the grant?
No.
No, it's cut off the.
Oh,
Cut off.
Cut off for the
At
question.
some point, you
Yes.
need to cut off the
I'll
question.
let you know when I find out immediately.
How long can we go on? You can go on another year asking questions.
Okay, I understand. I just wanna make sure I understood. I will get y'all an answer tomorrow.
Yeah, they should have a cutoff date. Any job that bids on the street, you have to have RFIs in by a certain date. If you
Yeah.
don't, you're lost.
Said that it's here to the state of Florida.
Yep.
They don't, along extend it a handful of time. Like in this case, I'm sure it's structural issues
We're dealing with the state.
because of having one building missing.
Anything else?
Last thing, I was just gonna thank, Tim and all his guys and everybody involved about Brittany Woods, looking super nice.
Hey, Commissioner Griggs?
Yeah, you brought up our sale with the Historical Society, and Leisure Services, once again, stepped up, as they always do. But really, Tim, appreciate that. Everything y'all did was very helpful on that project for the Callaway School. Monday a week ago, I went to a 2055 Florida Transportation Regional Workshop, and that was in Fort Walton. And what that covers is the 11 counties in Region 3 of Florida Transportation. And what the workshop was about, and we're talking about 2055, all of y'all, I think, have gotten the 2045, and you know we're working on the 2050 and 2055 transportation plan for Bay County. This regional involved all the counties within Regions 3. The reason this is all important to us is because we get funding for our projects, funding for our roads, funding for our sidewalks, and all from the state of the federal government. And as y'all are all aware, from the conversations we've had, that this involves a great deal of planning. Now, one of the things that's happening in the state that we're trying to make you all familiar with, I'll try to make you familiar with, when they reduced the tolls in the state, that reduces our money on our roads, because we get a share of those tolls. So it may be nice for those people that have the tolls. We don't have any in the upstate here in Panhandle. But, that plus, when they have tax holidays, that takes money away from the transportation budget. And that's one of the things that, the transportation people have to worry about, the DOT have to worry about, and that's, their money. When we get our impact fees from our developments and from our, homes that are being put in, the developments that are being put in, the apartments that are being put in, those impact fees, good part of those impact fees go for our transportation, at least in our city. And the same thing within the county, and the same thing within the region. So part of that, to give you an idea of what's involved with the transportation, I've made these available, which came out. I'll give you some additional information, and we'll go over this in some of our future meetings. But the state of Florida, as far as the square miles, 53.6 thousand square miles with a population of 22 million and 8.9 million jobs. That's in the state of Florida. Now, if we're looking for this, what we're looking at for Bay County, we have 160,000 square miles. And 1.5 million road miles and 600,000 jobs. So, what we try to do within the area, and a part of our job as commissioners is to look for the growth of the city and what's necessary for the growth of the city, because very honestly, more entities we have within the city, more businesses we have within the city, more with a population, we get money based on our population. After the hurricane, we were actually cut, because lo and behold, the census occurred after the hurricane. And we went from, very honestly, we went from 15,000 on down to around 13,000 in Callaway because of the census. That cut some of our dollars out of it. And what we're looking for, instead of people going through Callaway down Timber Parkway, because very honestly, you all know that Tyndall Air Force Base is now a space base as well. So what they were looking for shortly after the hurricane, they were looking for 8,000 people. Now what we're looking for is somewhere around 11,000 or 12,000 people. So we want those people as much as possible, starting from Callaway, not just going through Callaway. We don't want their vehicles just being washed in Callaway. We want their vehicles starting and registered in Callaway. So, just wanted to let y'all know, and there'll be questions about this, and I'll be happy to answer them. But very honestly, sitting to my left here, Mayor Henderson, remember, is chairman of the TPO, Bay County TPO. And the city manager, Eddie Cook, is chairman of the technical group that is advising the TPO. So, and point this out, this was a upstate Region 3 workshop. The only person from Bay County, city representing Bay County, was me. And very honestly, that gives us an influence because we're dealing with the state representatives for our region. And when we participate and when we support it, there's a little bit extra that's involved there.
And if I can interject, I would have been there, but I had a conflict that day. I had another mayor event I had to attend.
Right.
So
But
I
that,
wasn't there.
but Callaway was represented, none of the other communities were in Bay County. So, we keep it going. And I've said enough for right now.
That it? If I can, one thing I forgot to say, and the chief's still here, that's good. I had a call from a citizen. He had, I think he was doing something and his smoke alarms went off. Well, the fire department responded, he told them everything was fine and they left. Then he had trouble getting the smoke alarm cut off, so he said he called and he wanted to compliment one of your crews came back. It was Lieutenant McDaniel's crew, and he wanted to pass along how nice she was and how helpful, how gorgeous she was. So we'll let her know that he appreciated her assistance.
I sure will, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, now Commissioner Pelletier,
I'll wait for city manager update.
okay, Commissioner Ray.
Okay. I wanna, personally, thank the mayor and her sister for all the work they did to put, the yard sale together, because they had to bust their tails to get this work, and I know you ladies have probably put them together before, and it's a lot of work. And, Commissioner Griggs and I just basically were holding the fort down up there and lifting heavy things. So, thank you, man, great job.
Thank you all.
I met with CPAR last week. I had a meet and greet. Senator Trumbull and several state representatives were there. A lot of the local mayors and commissioners and county commissioners were there, and especially the new one. Forsyth Drive has a couple brand new leaks on it, so if you get a chance to ride down there, I think your guys know about them already.
Yeah, better idea, send me the addresses.
You can't miss them, because drive on down there and you'll.
Bill, let's drive around and pull our stand tomorrow.
Not right now.
Okay?
Yeah, well, at Forsyth Drive, I mean, just go straight down, you'll see two of them, so. I've met with the city manager a couple times, and we had discussions about the different issues throughout the city, and we continue to do that. I appreciate your time, keeps me up to speed. Tim, great, and, Leisure Services, great job on the scoreboards and the PA system out there, really nice. And, I know the football teams appreciate everything that was done, so. And Richard, of course, was, he's kind of an all-star for you, I know, so he helped everybody out very much. But that's all I have.
Okay, City Clerk, do you have anything? City Attorney?
Sure.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay.
Your turn.
All right, let's jump on the scoreboard thing, since Commissioner Harris just brought that up. You know, Tim, it's really good, how fast everything gets done. The part that nobody knows is we had street department that was out there working. We have multiple departments that are working together. That makes me more proud than anything, that I'm rolling up on projects and I'm seeing Bill's people working with Tim. I've got Tim's people working with fire, I got fire department all over the place. And the great thing about it is it's not the scoreboards, it's what I'm seeing amongst my department heads that are, they're so close, they know they can call each other, and people are sending people back and forth. Water division is constantly up in utility billing. This has just been, it's been working really, really well, and I'm more, you know, I know the projects are getting done, it's just great that I see my department heads are all working together and keeping their staff. So, yes, we've got a couple of scoreboards hung over at Wolf Park. We stopped, we saw a storm coming. Tim, you got all the boards back here?
Yes.
The rest of them are in the building, we're not putting any more up till after this storm, because we do not need to have a window fence come up and knock down anything. If that football scoreboard wasn't so big, I don't think I would tell you to go pull it up. I'm almost thinking we need to go down there and anchor it, put tie rods down on it, so. Brittany Woods, we got some really good, we're doing the paving project with the parking lot. They've been actually working on that all week long. They told me today that they're gonna go up there in the morning and pave. We'll see how that works out, but I was just amazed that, we're gonna actually probably be able to get that thing done this quick, get paved. They had everything ready by this afternoon, so. And then the, fence that's going up out here right now, when he finishes this one, he's going over to do the dog park there. That's gonna be his next one to do that. And he'll get the fencing order for the 8 foot. It's not gonna blow anything.
And the cemetery, right?
And the cemetery, yeah. And I don't know, I know the fencing is on order, I don't know if that's it yet. He says he's not gonna slow down, he's gonna be able to get everything done in order that we talked about. He does expect to have this done within 2 days. Pending weather at this point, so he's hoping to have it done, I think tomorrow. Did he tell you tomorrow?
Yes.
He told me tomorrow, we don't believe, we're not betting on that though.
They did good for that, though.
Yeah, we're not betting.
I was up here with the seniors this morning and I got a lot of compliments. People are very happy to see that fence going up.
Yes, yes. I also got a message from Felton's over here. They're very excited about it, and we're gonna be getting compensation back for their part of it, so, just, it's, unless when things are starting to come together. The school board's in the fence, all right, so, I wanna brag on my staff for storm prep. I hear a lot of people, they just do not realize what happens within the city when we go into storm prep mode. There's so many, every division has lists and lists of things, you don't realize it. Sewer department's pumping down our lift stations, we're getting them pumped down so we can take an inundation of water. Street department is out running every grade in the city. I've got people that are checking every generator. We're also checking all of our equipment, all the way down to every chainsaw is checked to make sure it's running. Check to make sure we have enough spare chains. Who it's gonna be assigned to, what's gonna happen through this summer. It's a huge, huge undertaking. It's not just a matter of, we're gonna go take the patio furniture in. That's not how it works for us, because we have to have everything ready. And then these guys are they're having, who knows if they're gonna get home if we have a big storm like before, They all came in the next, virtually everybody made it in. Of course, we had people take trucks home with chainsaws. Chainsaw your way in, get to us. We know that's cleaning the street on the way rather than, I couldn't get there. So they hear me say, the chief has heard me say constantly, you will play like you practice, so we're gonna practice hard. And I'm just super proud of the team, and I know I'm doing a lot of bragging on my staff, but they have really been stepping up and impressing me lately, and how well they're working together. So that's where that's, for storm prep, we're virtually ready. We've got to close some shutters on some buildings tomorrow. And the only reason we didn't shut them down was because we wanted a little bit of sunlight for a couple more days before we go dark. We're at over 90% on the 3 lift station rehabs that's going on right now. Thomas and Bill are working with them, so we'll have that finalized up by the end of the week. The water sewer study model is going full speed. I know people are been questioning it. I want to understand it. When you do a model study, we are actually looking at every lift station, what the capacity is, what the past flow rates are, what the flow rates are going to be, how we project them for the future, because every lift station most likely will pump to another. They all pump downhill till they go outside the city. So when we do a modeling study on sewer, this is where we're at now, and then we start looking at our growth areas, and we'll start saying, this area's right here, and they have formulas to say, this amount of area will produce X number of houses, which will produce X number, and that's how we can model everything out to see what it'll look like. So that's going full speed. Bill's a very busy little person right now, because we got him and his new superintendent, Thomas, is kind of glad we got him right now, because it'd be a lot on Bill right now to be handling all that. A couple of things we're working on right now, hot and heavy, FlexNet. We've just updated, got everything done. Prop studies are all done. We're finalizing the agreement with the tower over here. I will be bringing that to y'all, because we want to put, one of our things in there. This is a moneymaker, the tower is, we get rent off of that, so we'll see what they're gonna charge us, and I'm sure we'll just do a rent offset. I can't imagine it's gonna be too much. And then we're going to have to put a tower out at Sandy Creek. We thought we were gonna be able to get a utility pole, and we thought, okay, we couldn't get the utility pole, we moved the transmission pole, we can't find a transmission pole. Might be able to find one after the storm. We might be able to find a transmission pole. But right now, we're looking, but we do have some alternates, and they provided us a quote today, which includes the pole, so we're updating all of our numbers, and as soon as we get the contract on that, I'll be coming back to y'all to execute everything. On PlaceNet, we're pretty excited to get that up and going. That's it. Another thing that we're working on is we are spraying our lakes to keep the muck and algae down. So the lakes are being sprayed. I've been working on, we're gonna be having a proposal that'll go out, basically to add aeration to these lakes. They're very low in oxygen content, so anything that we do to try to mitigate the muck that's in there is gonna take 3 times as long if we don't get aeration in these lakes. So, we're working on, getting the quote, well, getting a bid produced that we can put that out. It is a budgeted item that we've been working on to get aeration in these lakes. Once we get the aeration in, we'll come back with the microbials, which will eat that muck to the tune of about 12 inches a year. And so that's actually a lot compared to the pellets. But, both Fox and Laney Road has got an abundant amount of, basically, it's just muck, it's just organics that have decayed and fallen to the bottom. So we need to get those out of these lakes. Oh, it's either that or they're gonna grow back over. And we can't keep doing this, so we're gonna have to, we need to stop the cycle. And that's gonna be through adding oxygen and all these things. And we're looking at, I think it's 4 aerators per lake. These will generate a lot of oxygen, even though they look almost like a small fountain. They're like 10-foot fountains, but they're spraying lots of water that come up about 10 foot and spray out in the cone. We've already got power out there, so we'll be working on that, and then we'll get those. We'll get that bid, we'll put it out, and then of course we'll bring it back to y'all to approve. That's gonna be less than, I gotta say, it's less than 50,000 for those lakes, to be done. So we're working on that. We've got an update on the bridge, I know where we're at on that. Cherry Street, I'm gonna be honest with you, we're waiting on Tico. Have you heard any more from Tico?
Be coordinating with the group.
Yeah.
But we're not in on this.
To be honest with you, right now, there is not a lot of coordination going on because there's no way to coordinate if they don't have their information, so they're getting their info. And that was the last thing we heard. And I'll just go ahead and tell you, this week it has not been a priority for me to reach out to those guys. I'm facing much other stuff. I apologize. I'm gonna be honest with you, Mayor, when you said, are you gonna talk about Cherry Street, it just dawned on me, I hadn't checked on that. Did I cover all the things that you had questions about? Okay.
Okay, everybody good? Okay. So
I
that
forgot to mention one thing. One of my neighbors, was out of town and their door blew open and the alarm went off. And the sheriff's department went over and took care of it for them. Appreciate that. They were very happy about that and, secured their property. So, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we will go on to public participation. Who would like to speak on an agenda item? Mr. Hennings?
Don Hennings, 431 Pass. Since we're not gonna get Cherry Street done by another year, and get some of the bumps redone a little bit, or the asphalt there is cracking up and all that. Especially 2 bumps, one down by, Kenmore down there, and another one by with the tree out, there's one there. I mean, oh, the tree there, the big tree next.
Like how I start?
Yeah. I don't know, it's gonna be another year before we get that. I mean, maybe we got a paving machine, maybe get a little bit there and a little bit somewhere else, or
We do not have a paving machine.
we don't have a paving machine. Okay, yeah. Whole machine?
We have a machine that we can hold pavement.
Okay.
That we transport.
Okay.
The paving machine are guys with shovels.
Okay, okay.
That's the machine. But we have a
Also-
roller.
I just thought, I don't know if it's gonna cost too much money or whatever, I just thought maybe.
Where was the other one? Cameron.
Yeah, Cameron was not, but there's some, yeah, they send emails to them, our representative's not doing nothing for us. They get up there and do nothing, or they're not doing nothing for Callaway, they do everything for Panama City and Glen Haven and the beach and all that, what?
I
know?
I personally think we have a good working relationship with our
Okay.
representative.
So we need,
I talk to them all the time. This is an internal grant process.
yeah, well.
I'm gonna be
Is that-
honest, we had another, I'm gonna go ahead and say this quietly, and I'm not gonna expound on it, but there was another project that tried to get pushed from the outside, and it got pushed,
Yeah.
and then it got delayed, because too many hands were in the pot, too many people were making decisions.
Also, we're gonna close City Hall anytime this week or not? Anybody know?
For storm?
Storm in. Anybody know today?
At this point, no.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Henry.
But everything is subject to change based on safety and conditions.
Anybody else like to speak?
I start telling people they can go home, I won't have nobody come to work.
Yeah, Jody Moore, Amherst Street in Lynn Haven. First of all, I want to compliment you guys. I like these 6 o'clock meetings, that's nice, and I like that public commentary comes last. Lynn Haven changed some of that, and I didn't care for that myself. I do have a comment though. I mentioned that I have run a local Facebook page and I watchdog government among other things. The video quality is terrible, frankly. I don't know if it's in your budget to do something about the video quality of these meetings, but private citizens shouldn't have to come and live stream a meeting. So, when it is in the budget, I don't know if there could be some technology, that could help with that. I've seen some of the meetings and it's grainy and you really just can't see it. There are people who, can't come to meetings, or maybe they're handicapped and they can't get to the meetings. So, just something to think about for the future. Also, did I hear you say that you, EPCI does your inspections here for Callaway?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You might wanna rethink that, so I'm really glad I came to this meeting. I'm actually personally suing them, and I'm not a sue happy person. I'm 56 years old. This is the second time I've ever sued someone in my entire life. My dad had a home in Springfield, and when he passed away last year, I sold the house. Well, we had all kinds of complications selling the house, and we did end up selling it, but I lost money, which is why I'm suing them, because they passed a roof. My dad's roof had no roofing nails in it. It was stapled on, and so we had to put an entirely new roof on. This is not a new story for EPCI throughout Bay County. They were actually kicked out of Lynn Haven, is my understanding. So, and I think Bay County did use them for some services and is backing away. I think they're used by Springfield, which I have a problem with, because I've been in contact with them about what happened with me. Also, I think Mexico Beach uses them as well. So I just wanna bring this to your attention. If you're looking out for the citizens of Callaway, this company, maybe they perform some inspections okay, but they have a record of not performing inspections. So there are structures and roofs all over Bay County that were not properly inspected, and they're gonna have problems in the future. I've even heard the roofers kind of laugh about it. It's like, yeah, we're gonna be in business for a while because you think you got a new roof, but you don't. You have a new roof, but it's not adequate, and you're gonna need a new one, and that was my experience. So, again, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. You might wanna, I know it's not gonna happen tomorrow because you gotta get somebody else to come and perform inspection services, but if they haven't stepped up their game to do a better job, then you might wanna think about doing, hiring another company. I know that it was chaos after Hurricane Michael, of course it was, but there's no excuse not to properly inspect people's homes. All right, thank you.
Anybody else want to speak?
Teresa Langston, 6031 Lane Street. There's a couple things that I would like to say and a couple questions. So when the bridge is done, when Bertha Bridge is done, then what happens? You guys open it and wait for DOT to come inspect it one day? Or do they inspect it before the citizens start using it?
Go ahead and use your 3 minutes and we'll come back.
And then about Beacon Point, everybody thinks, a lot of citizens think it is an eyesore and something does need to be done on it, about it, instead of waiting for the state to come around or to approve or whatever. Citizens are also stating your comment about transportation 2055, and we can't even get Cherry Street done and Bertha Bridge finished in 2024, and everybody's worried about, transportation 2055. And as you stated, there was leaks, well, more leaks, and that just goes to back my argument of our infrastructure needs to be fixed, because we have constant leaks. Every meeting, at the end of the meeting, we're discussing leaks somewhere in the city. And then I want to make a comment about, I was gonna send you an email, but I figured I'd go ahead and make it, in front of everyone. That when I first started coming to meetings about 2 years ago, Commissioner Griggs encouraged me to get up and speak. But somewhere in between the last 2 years, he has lost interest in citizen input. He has already stated that he doesn't need citizen input. You insulted citizens that signed a petition by stating that you didn't think they didn't know what they were signing. People can read. Matter of fact, they read the information that the city put out. So if you're not putting out enough information, then that's on the city. And for some reason, you seem to think that the citizens are stupid and need you to decide everything for them. Well, that's not the case. You are to represent the citizens, and that goes for all the commissioners. And then my last thing I want to say is that the mayor, she states at the beginning of the meeting usually about being respectful to each other. We're going to treat others with respect. But in the last couple meetings when things were said and Commissioner Ayers did not agree with him, he had a comment to say, like when I stood up, he made a comment. When David stood up, he had to make a comment after that.
Thank you. Okay, you want to answer that question about the bridge inspection?
Yeah, I'll cover that. Also, I can hit on the transportation too. That's the state plans.
Yeah.
Cherry Street's a city, Bertha Bridge is a city, so those plans don't incorporate the state. Even though Bertha Bridge is under FEMA reimbursement, that's the only reason why the state is involved with that. The Bertha Bridge is because the way FEMA works, FEMA takes the money, goes down to the state holds it, and they reimburse, they put the money in as we do it, so, on that particular grant. Scott, I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
All right.
But I know when you're gonna be with what's called substantially complete, the CEI is basically the person that's gonna go through and certify the work, correct?
Correct.
Is there another anything else that goes through for that?
Any kind of as-built, any changes, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, he'll supply us with as-built,
So-
which is the way it is.
The CEI, Megan, and DRMP is here, their job is to ensure that the bridge, the concrete pours, the materials, everything's done to the standard specifications, compactions, densities, and that everything does match the plans and drawings, that it's true that when we're said and done, that the bridge that you got is the one that's designed. So, any of the risk or the changes that come up, i.e. the walls movement, that's gonna be vetted through, there's gonna be documentation that shows that the engineers reviewed it, they added that, they'll have signed off on it. When that's all said and done, they'll certify that the bridge was built to these plans, here's what you got. That meets the requirements for turning that over, and then once it's done, it will go back on the DOT inspection.
Right.
Yearly.
And the bridge is built to bridge specs.
Yep.
They're built to the state specs, or they're designed to.
Okay.
So they build it, and as it's being built, the CEI is on site every day so that everything is being done, every bit of testing, compaction testing, whatever you call it when they're breaking cylinders for the densities on concrete. All of that stuff has to be done, sent off and tested, or they have an offset company that comes in and does the testing, and then that information is turned over to them and the CEI. So that the CEI can say, okay, yes, we can continue to move forward. It's the CEI's job to make sure that the bridge is being built to the specs that were designed per state specifications.
And they're
We got a
taking
75-year bridge, is that right?
I believe so.
Yeah, this is being built to 75-year specs.
They're
Not
taking
50
course
year standards. Yes.
for concrete and testing, so, and that's something
So why the
that everybody should be aware of. So they're testing. Scott, what's your last name?
Randall.
Randall. Thank you.
So is there anybody that's gonna come in at the very end that's a bridge person and go, yeah, we like it? All they're gonna be able to see is a superficial outside of it. They're not gonna see what's been done underneath, how the piles were put in the ground, how far they went in the ground, how everything is built on top of it. I know people have talked a little bit about the wing walk. I was told that this is not a big issue. This happens, and it's still within the spec of what can happen as you're putting weight on it. But just as a precautionary measure, it was still in spec now, and it's still got some more that can go up, but just say, hey, we're gonna go ahead and put this in as a precautionary measure. And, you know, and I agree with that because we are, like I said, we're building to a 75-year spec, not a 50-year spec, which is very common across the board.
Yeah, and we've walked the site several times and
I live out there.
seen what's moved out and so forth, and, yeah.
So,
So, I think it's,
thank you, Scott.
Does anybody else, come on up?
Anna Pelletier, 7724 Shadow Bay Drive. I was just wondering if you could explain the water bill, like where does the base rate go? And I know the usage is the usage, so I know that goes for that, but I'm just wondering if you could explain where the base rate goes. What's that go towards?
What does that money go to?
Yeah, where does?
Basically, operation and maintenance of the system. Yeah, it's just upgrade and operations of the system. You know, this is what, if you don't use any consumption, this is basically, that's the money that's used to support the water, supports the water, sewer, supports the sewer,
Pipes, the
and they are
personnel.
separate.
Okay, but it's not held in like an account or anything like that?
it is.
Well, it's an enterprise fund,
It's
and it's
enterprise
budgeted,
fund.
yes, it's an enterprise
But
fund,
it
it's
can
some
only be
business.
used for that enterprise. It can't be
When we
used.
say that water is for water and sewer, you may get one bill, but when you pay it, it's split. Water goes into a water account, sewer goes into a sewer account. That money never goes anywhere else but stuff that is approved for that. It's called an enterprise fund. We have 3 enterprise funds: water, sewer, solid waste is an enterprise fund. That money can't be taken out and moved anywhere.
Okay.
And you don't use water to pay for sewer, you don't use sewer to pay for water. So when you see one account that's really big, okay, they're doing things right, or, you don't really want that,
Or
but
we
it
don't have a
happens
bill
very
that's
commonly.
come in and taken that portion away yet. But we've also done some comparisons to the local cities around here, and we're doing pretty good.
Oh, yeah, I did my own comparison
Yes, ma'am.
back in January, and I didn't really think it was.
Right.
that.
The only one that we don't really do well against is Panama City Beach,
Don't care.
but they've got, it's like apples and
They have other
oranges.
fees though too, so.
They do.
Yeah, that's,
They make up for their low water with other
Yeah.
things. Yes, ma'am.
okay, I was just wondering, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Good question.
I don't see anybody.
Wait, Mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking out there.
I'm trying to stay clear of some of these comments directed at me, but I will make one comment that cannot be challenged. I've never called a citizen stupid. I've never called an employee stupid. In my over 40 years of working, I don't use that name. Now, some people can interpret things by making a statement. When I say that somebody is uninformed, they're not knowledgeable, and when it relates to the city issues or something, that's my responsibility to inform them. But at no time have I been disrespectful from the standpoint of calling somebody stupid. It's just not in my DNA. It's not gonna happen.
there anybody that didn't speak yet that wanted to speak before we move on? Not seeing anybody, we'll read the announcements. It looks like there's a potential planning board meeting. Does it look like there will be a planning board meeting on the first?
We're gonna see.
Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, and then October 8th is our next commission meeting at 6 P.M. I don't think we have anything else going on in that time frame. So that brings us to a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Everybody ready to go? Thank you all. Everybody,